and welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton, and today we are going to talk you into taking one of the fun and educational Patriot Segway tours at Fort Monroe. My guest is one of the owners, Jill Pryor. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having us today.
I am so excited about this, and you opened last year, but it was a little bit later in the season, so this summer you're going to be here spring and summer.
Yes.
And this just sounds like so much fun.
Oh, well, thanks. We really enjoy it. We opened in August. It was kind of a little late start, but it gave us a chance to kind of get settled, get all our segways in order, get them all ready to roll for the season. And now as the weather gets a little bit nicer and approaches, we're starting to pick up and start taking people for tours.
So I've never been on a Segway, and I'm really excited about it, but it looks like it would be hard to balance. Like, I think when they first came out, everybody was like, oh, everybody's going to get these. They're amazing.
Sure.
And then they became a little bit more specialty. What is it like?
So they've been around for about 15 years now, and the misconception is it's harder than it really is. It looks tricky. Segways are self-balancing, so that's really the key. So we only offer guided tours. Our guide is there to assist you, get you comfortable before the tour even begins, and it really is a simple device. You just step right up, relax a little bit.
That might be the hard part.
That is definitely the trickiest part. But once folks relax and realize it's not going to fall over, it's staying upright, and then you have complete control by gently shifting your weight forward or back.
That's so cool. And so the guide is helping you with the Segway, but the guide is also introducing you to all of the history at Fort Monroe.
Absolutely. What a wonderful place to be. So it's a special place, and for us to be able to take people around, share with them the history of the area, the beautiful scenic sites, the waterfront. We go inside the fort, outside the fort, around the moat.
Yeah, because those are really narrow for cars, but you can zip right through.
We can zip right
Segway.
through. We can, and so we are. It's easy to get in and out of places, and we can cover so much ground in a short period of time.
Yeah. So how much ground do you cover? You have 1 and 2 hour tours.
Correct. So the 1 hour tour is really an overview of the history in the area, but also with our tours we keep our groups small, 6 guests typically per guide.
Oh, that's great.
Well, with that, it allows folks to start and stop as often as they like. Some guests are only going to go 2 or 3 miles an hour. Some are going to go full speed up to 8 miles an hour. So it really depends on the group. We really cater to our guests. If they want more history, we're going to share it. If they want more riding, we can do that as well.
That sounds like so much fun. Now, this is an expansion for you.
Sure.
This is your second location. You all started at Yorktown.
Correct.
What do you find? Like, who comes on these tours?
So Yorktown, we opened in 2010. We just had our 8-year anniversary there.
Oh, wow.
And I'm amazed. It's really flown by. But what we've really noticed is half of our riders are people that are visiting the area from out of town, whether they're staying in Virginia Beach or Williamsburg. Even a lot of folks from Richmond will come down for the day. The other half of our guests are locals, and either they're looking for something fun to do, maybe for a birthday or an anniversary, maybe they've never ridden a Segway, or they have company in town.
See, that's what I think. I think it's the perfect thing where we're in a tourist location, and a lot of people come and visit, and it's a great thing because that means I don't have to travel.
Sure.
But we're always looking for something new and different to do. A lot of times the grandparents will come in and take the kids out. Now, little kids can't do this. What's your age range?
So unfortunately, the Segway is designed for 14 and up, and it's really more of a weight concern. The Segway weighs about 105 pounds, and you need to be equivalent or close to that to operate it safely.
Gotcha.
Yep. So 14's our minimum age. There is no maximum. We've had folks up in their 80s, and so it's really just the ability to stand, the ability to step up onto the platform, and to have a good time.
Sounds like fun. I can't wait. Okay, well, let me ask also, how much does this cost?
So our 1 hour tour is $39 a person. Our 2 hour tour is $65. We do offer military discount, a 10% discount. And it's very reasonable. We actually have not raised our prices since the beginning because we want it to be very affordable, especially for families.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like a lot of fun. I mean, it's a special occasion thing. You wouldn't do it all the time, but what a good time.
Thanks.
I'm very excited.
Yep.
Go ahead. You were gonna say something.
I was just going to say, we meet people that haven't ridden before, but what we're also starting to see is people that come back. They have ridden in other places and have realized how easy, how fun, how much you get to see, and so they start to look for it.
Well, I think it would also be good, you know, some people don't want to walk that distance, and to cover the fort, I mean, you see it when you're driving, but it's not the same thing. That's much more up close and personal.
It is. If you were to drive the route that we take, you would be stopping and starting over and over, reading signs and everything. And so for us, we can roll to the next spot, stop briefly, share the history, move on. And so you get to cover a lot. For folks that maybe can't ride the Segway or aren't comfortable, we also do rent bikes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and we do that by the hour, $7.50 an hour, or 4 hours is $25, and that's just a self-guided tour. We're there right now. We're open 10 to 3 for the Segways.
Okay. And normally, like on a weekend, people probably need to make reservations. I mean, you will take walk-ins if you're not full, but I would assume, especially holiday weekends, but a lot of times you may book up taking those small groups.
Correct. And so we typically offer 2 one-hour tours and 2 two-hour tours every day, except Mondays. And so we do recommend a reservation. However, we can accommodate walk-ins. The challenge is that if you have a particular date and time that works for you, we recommend reserving that because it's your time then.
Especially if you're in a group. I mean, if you've got a bunch of people, you're going to have to
Yeah,
work
and
around
with that, we actually, even though we only take 6 guests per guide, we can take up to 12 guests, and we'll just send an additional guide, and we have enough Segways to accommodate. So we can do larger groups, but those are definitely by reservation.
That's great. Now, where on Fort Monroe are you? And don't give me a building number like the Army does.
Yeah, very challenging to find us if I gave you the building number, but we're in a very unique building. We're actually in the old Firehouse. It was built in 1881, so we are at 1 Ruckman Road, which is not too hard to find, just off of Ingalls. You'll make a left on Ruckman. We're actually right where Cannon Park is. You have St. Mary's Star of the Sea Church on one corner. You have the YMCA, and then we're directly across the street.
That sounds great. Now, you also have an additional business so that when we're waiting for our tour, tell us about that.
So because of the location we leased, being so unique and having the space, we added a coffee shop to the fire station. And so Firehouse Coffee was launched in October, mid-October this past year. And so far it's starting to expand and grow. We do smoothies, we do all your coffee beverages. I'm hoping to add ice cream very soon.
For the summer, that would be great.
Well, we started to do a little more research into what else was needed down at Fort Monroe and in the area. And with all the residences being leased out and more commercial businesses coming in, there was a need for light food, beverages, and so we feel like we filled that niche.
I think that's wonderful. You know, I think that sometimes people in Hampton have been frustrated that Fort Monroe has grown slowly. But given the extensive history and the involvement of the state, the national government, the city, the complicated ownership, the historical resource that it is, you can't change quickly enough. And so it's been slow, but I think people who haven't been out there in a year or 2 years will be surprised at all that's going on now.
I would agree. We've been pursuing it for a little over 3 years because we knew it would take time. I grew up in Hampton. My dad's retired military, so I was able to visit Fort Monroe as a child and loved it. So now that the public can access it, more and more people are realizing that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a draw, certainly from the entire region. And I think if you're in Norfolk or Virginia Beach or Chesapeake, it's the bridge tunnel's always an iffy thing, but it's normally a pretty quick hop over if you're not at rush hour.
We are starting to see people from Norfolk and Suffolk and such looking for a little, day trip.
Yeah, and then I think next year, the 2019 anniversary is going to really draw some national spotlight. And so it's just it's word of mouth and it's slow, but I think it's going to really, really take off.
I think we realized that we probably picked a good time to get settled in, to get all the kinks worked out, to get established. And you're right, word of mouth has been the biggest thing for us right now. The fort has been very helpful. I have to admit, the city's been great. So a lot of resources that we tapped into. And then next year is going to be pretty wild because they've got a lot going on.
I look forward to it.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Jill. Thank you for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching. I hope we have whetted your appetite for this and that you will enjoy visiting Fort Monroe, whether you're on foot, whether you rent a bike, or whether you get to try the fun Segway tours.